Hey, what's going on, everybody? I just wanted to come on here. I've been working on a project and I'm pretty far along on it already, but everybody keeps telling me that I need to make a video about everything that I've done and what I'm doing. So here I am. So far, I have a 95 GMC Sonoma. And so far, I have put I've completely sanded the frame down and painted it, coated the frame and everything, and then I've put Calvert monoleafs and Caltrax, and they're adjustable shocks on all four corners. I put Moroso trick springs on the front and a Performance, the All-Star Performance, I believe it is. 1-inch extended upper ball joint. I have two-wheeler upper control arms. I have an 8.8 forward rear end out of an Explorer with 410 gears and a Positrack. I did the Blazer tank swap, which I'll show you. Move my grill over here a little. I did the Blazer tank swap, and all I did was just put a piece of angle iron. I cut out a couple of cross members. Of course, always brace up before you cut cross members out. But all I did was just weld in a piece of angle iron there. I bought a gas tank for a 95 S10 Blazer, and I bought the gas tank straps, the uppers and the lower straps. And then all I did was just put some 1.25 inch, I believe it was, or 1.125 inch round pipe in there with some washers, and I sandwiched that between there, the upper and the lower straps, to hold the tank. And then on the back here, I did basically the same thing, and then I just welded on. I cut some pieces of pipe at an angle to allow for the angle of the bolt that comes through from the strap there. And of course, here I'll show you my rear end setup. I got the Caltrax, I got the monoleafs. It's all a pretty simple setup. I went with the Jegs wheels. I bought them back whenever they were cheaper, and they seem to be a pretty good wheel. I mean, a lot of people run them and have really good luck with them. See, I have the Moroso trick springs in the front. Of course, I have no weight on it, so everything's really, and that's the ball joint, the 1-inch extended upper ball joint. I was lucked out, and I was able to find a non-AC heater box, so I will have defrost. That's a very big plus. The project has been going pretty well. I also installed Motion Raceworks manual brake setup. I got to get finished going through the wiring harness and getting rid of all the wires I don't need and keeping the ones that I do need. It's kind of a tedious project. You know, anybody who's done anything with wiring knows it takes a while. But everything is getting there. I'm going carbureted, and I'm going to have an ls3 out of an 08 Corvette. I ordered that from Speedway Motors. It's just a 3-inch, all mandrel bends. You know, I'm going to build my own exhaust system. I have 1 7/8 inch long tube headers from Muscle Rod. This is my block here. I just had it all, I honed it out. There was a couple little water spots in one of the cylinders, and I didn't like it. So I sent it to the machine shop and had them take it out 5/1000 just to clean up those water spots that was in the cylinder. It had a it had an intake. The Corvette that came out of was in a fire at one point, and the back of the car burned, and the very top of the intake manifold had melted a little bit just from the heat, and it allowed some water to get into the number 7 cylinder, and that's what those water pits were from in the cylinder. Other than that, the block checks out great. Everything is machined and ready to roll. I got all my stuff laid out here, ready to assemble. I'm waiting on bearings right now. I just had to order some new king bearings. I just got my crankshaft back from the machine shop not long ago. I took it all in and had it balanced. I got a Texas Speed F35 camshaft. It's one of their shelf cams. I mean, it's supposed to add 92 horsepower. So I mean, it's, with my build, it should run relatively well. I did the trunnion upgrade, and if this thing will focus, I did the trunnion upgrade. I got these from Brian Tooley Racing, and that's a good upgrade if you're going to be running a high lift cam like I'm running. And I measured out all of my piston rings that came with my pistons, just to see where they were, because I'm going to gap mine for nitrous. But I have all my rods attached to my pistons already. I'll show you my pistons here. There's just a Summit Pro LS. These have a plus 2 cc dome, and with the factory ls3 heads, it should be somewhere in the neighborhood around 11.5 to 1 compression, which is what I want. I want something where I can run pump gas. I don't want an all-out race motor, because I mean, that's just not practical. I got the heads. I got them all taped up now. I'll show you in a later video, after I get ready to assemble the engine. I can show you how I ported the heads. I did a lot of porting on the heads. I ported the exhaust out a lot and gasket matched those, and I ported it all the way through. On the intake side, I did a lot of work there too, and mostly in the bowl. If you open that bowl up in there, it really makes the head flow a lot. Now here's my camshaft. I have it in a bag just to keep it out of the dust. But I have, let's see here. There's my box of my muscle rod headers. I got a new starter already waiting. I want to keep all my stuff under the hood, so I bought a Performer RPM intake from Edelbrock. I'm going to cut this middle down and make it an air gap. I just haven't done that yet. Also, you may notice a lot of these intakes, or all of these Performer RPMs, all this is solid when you buy them. Well, I ported all that out of there. I got rid of it. I took my porting tool, I drilled holes in there, I cut it all out, and then cleaned it all up to where I think it looks better myself. It's not going to help with performance, probably. Maybe help keep things a little bit cooler. But, I mean, it's not going to help. I just like the looks of it better, because it makes it look more like a Victor Jr. or something like that. You know, it's not all just enclosed and boxed in. So I did that just basically for my own preference and looks. So, but I also got a transmission cross member and everything from Muscle Rod too. It's supposed to match the headers. The headers. Oh, I also got their motor mounts. I've got all my belts and pulleys and everything off of a Corvette back there. Got all my gaskets. I got some 051 head gaskets, multi-layer steel head gaskets. I am going carbureted on this build. So I have a brand new 950 AED carburetor. And I got a hold of the guys at PTC and had them spec me a converter for my setup, along with a flywheel that is already, how you say, it's already spaced. The flywheel is kind of a, I don't even know what you would call it. It's basically spaced for the converter, so you don't have to run one of the little ring spacers or whatever you run behind the crankshaft. So on this build, I'm going with, I bought this tack offline. I got it pretty cheap, and it could possibly be for sale if anybody was interested in it. But because I'm not a big fan of the numbers being so close at the bottom, because I mean, I'll probably use maybe 7,000 RPMs, maybe. So all of these, I mean, everything's really close together there. So it's kind of a thing. But I got it cheap, so it was what it is. For the ignition system on these, I like to run the Daytona Sensors LS Smart Spark. They seem to be night and day difference better than the MSD setup, because a lot of the MSDs have kind of went downhill over the years. The older ones were good, but the newer ones have kind of gotten to where they're not worth a darn. This is the wiring harness that comes with the Daytona Sensors. It's just like the MSD. I mean, it's really simple to hook up. Just a couple of wires and you're going. It seems like you have more adjustability with this Daytona Sensors. And plus they have a lot of other things that you can do too. A lot of additives, like for O2s. For my O2, I just bought an Innovate LM2 monitor. It's kind of a deal where you can run it in other vehicles. If you want to, you can take it in and out of a car and hook it up to another vehicle O2 sensor, and check your air fuel and see how your whatever vehicle you want it on is doing. I've got all my fittings, everything over here I got all it in packages. I'm not going to unpackage it all right now, but I've got all my throttle linkages and all my little fittings for water temperature and oil pressure sensor, all of that good stuff. And this is a kit from Motion Raceworks. This is the 4-corner steam vent kit. I'm going to put that on there. Also, I learned years ago, unfortunately, I learned the hard way to never run, if you're going to have something that's, where you're going to run some RPMs, don't run the factory balancer, because I had one blow up and the harmonic balancer cracked on the crankshaft, and it blew up my 383 stroker that I had a lot of money stuck into, an old small block Chevy. So I got an FTI damper, super damper, for the ls3. I have Super 10 series mufflers, the little race mufflers. I'm getting a little older. I might end up changing that. I have, in this box, I have one of the, I believe it's like a Hooker oil pan. It's like the low clearance oil pan. And I have all the pickup tubes, everything like that inside of there. This cooler here, it came off of a 2000 F250, and it's a pretty good size transmission cooler. And it was often a heavy duty truck, so it should keep my transmission cool. I'm gonna run that. I'm gonna clean it really good and make sure there's nothing in there. I mean, it was out of a good running and driving truck that had no issues, but I'm going to use that for my transmission. Also, I have, I believe it was Superior radiator, I believe. I have a radiator in there. I'm not going to open it up. You'll see that in a later video if you follow along. The radiator that's in there it fits in underneath of the core support, inside the core support, so you get a lot more engine clearance, so you don't have to worry about, you know, fan clearance and things like that. And it's set up to where the inlet and outlet comes out for LS. You know, everything's close to where it needs to be, so you don't have to put a bunch of lines, a bunch of hoses together to be able to reach to where you need to go. I have a few fuel jugs. My girlfriend works for a place that makes these fuel jugs, and they give them to me for free all the time. So maybe eventually we can do a giveaway. Yeah, get so many subscribers. Maybe I'll do giveaways on gas jugs. I mean, I usually get 4 new ones a week now. So they've been giving me a lot of fuel jugs. There's Sunoco, there's Renegade, there's RJ, there's, I think that's it. In this bag, you can tell I've been on this project for a while, but in this bag here, I have a Turbo 400 with a reverse manual valve body, and it has a billet body with a trans brake. Everything is supposed to be set up and ready to roll. It's supposed to hold 1,500 horse. So, I mean, we'll see how that all turns out. That probably about wraps it up for this video. If you all want to follow along with me on this build, just subscribe, like, you know, whatever you want to do. If you want to, not, you know, that's fine too, but it should be a really cool project. I ordered in a Motion Raceworks operator shifter. So later on, I'll be doing a video on how to install that operator shifter, because I know some people are having problems with the little dowel pin and all that, and installing those, and, you know, saying that dowel pin was kind of a pain to install. Well, I'll be installing that on the bench and showing everyone how to put all this together. And if you follow along, I'll have some cool content. I mean, we'll be firing the ls3 up. That cam should sound pretty nasty, especially with this 3-inch full exhaust. And just for you all, I will be starting it up with just the long tube open headers. It should sound really, really nasty. I don't know if you've ever heard an F35 cam, but there's a lot of videos on YouTube of guys running them, and they sound pretty nasty. So I think that's about it for this video. Like I said, just subscribe and follow along, and we will get this build going. I'm really on the process right now. The only things holding me up right now is just parts. I'm waiting on the bearings so I can put the lower end together. Once I get those, they should be here tomorrow, I think. Once my bearings get here, I can drop the crank in, and then I can, I have to wait on a ring filer. I ordered a hand ring filer. So that hopefully will be here by the end of the week, and then I can file the rings, get those set for possible future nitrous. And then once my rings are all filed, then I can put those back on the pistons, and we can get the rotating assembly completely finished. And then after that, it shouldn't take too long to have this thing up and running. I have the heads already assembled. They're just sitting there all taped up and ready to roll. So I'm basically just waiting on a few parts, and we should be able to hear it rumble very shortly. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I hope you all subscribe, and I hope you follow along, because it's going to be a fun ride. Also, we're going to be doing some street racing. I got a few buddies that have one of them has a little turbo IROC, and it's a turbo LS IROC. It runs really good, 9-inch. You know, it's 6.0. It's a good running car. And I got a few other buddies that are building some pretty fun toys. So y'all follow along. We're gonna have some fun. We'll go to drag strips. We're gonna do some street racing, and we're just gonna have an all-out great time. There's a lot of times I like to just jump in my car or jump in my little truck and just drive to the city. I live out in the middle of nowhere. I'm out in the country. So there's a lot of times I just like to drive to the city, throw the sticky tires on the back and drive to the city and have some fun with whoever pulls up next to me. So if y'all want to follow along with that, hit subscribe. I know I keep saying that. Sorry about that. I'm kind of new to this whole video thing, so bear with me. I'm just doing this off my cell phone, and I'm just kind of going with it. So bear with me. Things will get better. Videos will get better. My girlfriend, she's been trying to, mess with editing and things like that. So I may have her edit the videos for me in the future. But we will get things going. Just subscribe, follow along, guys. I'm out of here. See ya.